Are you a good witch or a bad witch? This is what people always ask me after I tell them that I am a witch. The last time you introduced yourself to someone, did someone ask you if you were a good person or a bad person right off? Probably not, because people typically understand that you can't entirely lump someone in as a good person or a bad person, especially not right when you meet them. Good and evil is a false dichotomy. I like to think of it this way. The story of Adam and Eve, where they eat the fruit, the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Before that point, they lived without this separation of good versus evil. They lived in the presence of God. I have a theory about this, whether you're a Christian or not. It's a good story. My theory is that they lived in unity. It's a metaphor for the unity that was before the separation. And in looking at life as good and evil, there is a separation from the wholeness, the perfection of the one, the all, the God. That meaning to say that there is an absolute good is to say that there is an absolute evil. To say that there is an absolute evil is to say that there is an absolute good. If you want a world without evil, then admit to yourself that it is. Having a moral compass does not necessarily mean that your morality or ethical code will look like anyone else's. Whether you are Christian or not, it is a recorded fact that Christianity throughout history has very much flavored the Western culture and Christian morality or values along with it. The whole earth has been influenced by Western culture, and so been influenced by Christianity and Christian values. The concept of morality overall is very flavored with Christian history. Christian history is very flavored with following the law. In fact, isn't it very interesting that organized religion and governments ruling over people, both at their core, have codes of conduct for their followers? As you may know, organized religion is very different from witchcraft. Witchcraft and the occult historically have been secretive, very solitary in their practice. And if someone were to tell someone, they would need to be extremely secretive about it. There is a flavor of rebellion that goes with witchcraft, magic, and the occult. That rebellion has been seen in a criminal light from those who are more comfortable with organized religion, organized state, and who are more comfortable with order than they are comfortable with truth. So maybe you're wondering if there is such a thing as ethical witchcraft. And I would like to say, yes, there definitely is. I personally don't base my ethics on morality as like something that a higher being or an organization would say is good or bad, legal or illegal. And I definitely don't base my ethics or morality on the rule of three, which is from Wicca. As an aside, Wicca is a subset of neo-paganism. It's a religion that is organized and the members are witches, but the majority of witches around the world are not Wiccan. And the rule of three is not a universal law. It's simply a belief. Universal laws are things like the law of attraction or the Hermetic principles. So back on the subject of morality, some believe that karma is what you put out, you will get back. Exactly. And if that is true, when those people think of that, they think that if you are to hex someone, that negativity will come back to you. But think of it this way, and this is just a question to exercise your own thought and your own opinions. In fact, let me know in the comments what you think. What if, in order to heal, you needed to express your hate in some way? Expressing your hate would then bring you peace, and so that act of expressing hate is an act of peace. Would you then receive back what you expressed, or would you receive back what your intention was? And your intention was to have peace. A lot of people think that black magic is magic that is hurtful to someone else, whereas white magic doesn't hurt anyone. There's a lot here that is misunderstood. Black and white magic don't have to do with morality. The concept of black being bad and white being good is actually a Puritan concept that comes from Christianity. The color black in magic is actually a protective color. Black clothes are actually seen as protective in magic. I want to take a second and talk about black magic hurting people while white magic doesn't hurt anyone. If you do anything in your life, it is bound to hurt someone, whether you intended to hurt them or not. I don't say this to say, go out and murder people because you're gonna hurt people anyway. No, intent does very much matter. I guess what I'm trying to say is hurting someone is not inherently bad. It's a case-by-case basis. For example, if you were to fight off someone who was trying to hurt you and you ended up hurting them, would you hurting them be a bad or immoral act? No, because in this circumstance, you were fighting for your own safety. This is an example of how complicated real life is, and magic has to do with real life situations. Magic is not some kind of ideal practice. It is a practice that is very dependent on human psyche and human consciousness. Because of that, it is very complicated. If you're interested in more videos about the complicated human psyche, how consciousness affects magic and art, then subscribe to this channel. Some people would say that hexing is unethical, sending an evil eye on purpose is unethical, and honestly, I personally don't care what you do with your life. I'm not the universal police, so you can do what you want. If you're one to wake up and send a hex here and send a hex there, that's all fine and good with me. Some people call good magic high magic and bad magic low magic. I have found in my research that that is completely not even what high and low magic are about. High magic has to do with the self, the rise of the spiritual self, and low magic has to do with things that are on the physical plane. So things like getting love, money, status, that kind of thing. Your conscious intention does carry through your magic, but that's not all that you're sending. And that's why shadow work is so important, because through shadow work you can really see what you're made of, what energy you've been sending through your magic. Your intention is your conscious intention. Your subconscious intentions are things that you may not be aware of. And perhaps consciously you're sending a well-intended intention, and subconsciously you hope for the worst for the person. And that's another reason why I think that morality is not black and white magic. It's very gray. And witchcraft being so gray for me has actually given me a lot of comfort in that nature is not good or evil. Nature is nature. It may be beneficial for you sometimes, and it may be detrimental to you other times. There is no good and evil in natural forces. The storm does not care whether you are hurt in it or not. The storm's duty is to be a storm. And magic is using these natural elements, these natural energies to bring forward an intention. And because there is no solid black or white, your intention can't be categorized as good or evil necessarily. What's good for you might be evil for someone else. And these are the things about witchcraft that really interest me. They're the things that we think are overly simplified, but they're actually a lot more complicated, and I find complexity intriguing. Let me know what kind of experiences you have had where maybe somebody trying to police your practice, or you held back in doing something that you actually really wanted to do because you felt like it was black magic. Or maybe even a time when you did some kind of beneficial spell that actually quote quote backfired and ended up harming someone or yourself. I have actually definitely done that. The universe is funny in that way. If you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye!